Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is Friday. It is Bitcoin and chill day. It is Bitcoin happy hour, or as I like to call it, it's wake and bake time. What is up, fam? It is Friday, May 27th. It is Bitcoin Magazine Live. It is I, your host, Q. I snuck out to the patio of my mother's house, and that's where I'm coming to you from. And I'm joined by my co-host, P. How goes it, P?
It goes incredibly well. I'm surprised she let you out of the basement. I know that normally she chains you to the radiator and, you guys fight a lot. I'm glad to see you getting some sun. That vitamin D is important. Of course, as always, I am speaking into the elephant dick mic, as I've been told it's called in Germany. I'm happy to be here with you, with Mark Goodwin. Mark, say hi, tell us who you are and why we should care.
Whoa. P, sorry to burst your bubble, but Mark is a good friend of the show. In fact, I think even despite the fact that you've been on for 2 weeks straight, Mark has more appearances on Bitcoin Magazine Live than you do.
Look, how dare you?
I
will cut you. I will cut you.
Hey now.
Mark, we're gonna have to fight. I'm so sorry.
There's only one way out of this. It's a Highlander situation, and we must fight. We just talked before that we have the same microphone preference, so clearly there's Highlander vibes going on. But no, thank you, P. Thank you, Q. Chris, very happy to be here. Mark Goodwin. I'm also a Bitcoin Magazine compatriot, and I've been working on the print magazine for a bit. So yeah, it's been a while since I've been on here. I think almost like 2 months, and stoked to be back. Love to see the team growing and kicking butt, and just doing really cool things. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me on this happy hour. This is a good Friday.
It's a great Friday.
You hear that, CK? This team is kicking butt. All right. Mark Goodwin said so.
I don't know what is happening with your specific microphone, but like it feels like you're like wrestling that thing. It's like an anaconda you're trying to. Also, I saw you had it zoomed out earlier, and I saw that like that mic is attached to like a fucking like bench press or some shit. Like
this is true, because it turns out that when my dad built this like outdoor patio area with a cement seat that I'm sitting on right now, it is just too large for the clamp. So in full transparency, my mic is just sideways right now, and I'm trying to make sure it doesn't get rested in a way where it snaps. So today's a holding mic day. To be quite honest, I wish I just had like a quick little microphone, like I'm doing some stand-up comedy. I think that would have been much more beneficial and work a lot better in this scenario. But here we are.
That's a good point. That's an aesthetic that I think maybe the podcast scene needs to bring back, like the stand-up, like handheld, 58, that's not bad. I like it. I might have one as a prop. Maybe I could use one over here.
Oh, pull it out.
Yeah, I have one somewhere, but.
Also, Mark, I do want to apologize. As my biological father, I feel a certain, I feel like I have to like one up you at all opportunities. I do want to recognize, you have been on this podcast far longer than I have, and I want to apologize for coming in hot, flipping my knife out.
Absolutely nonsense, P. My first time that I really hung out with the Bitcoin Magazine family and hung out with CK, hung out with you. We hung out in San Francisco, and you were a part of the incredibly warm, amazing welcome from the team that made me want to come out of retirement and start working super hard for Bitcoin again. So no, my friend, there's no one-uppance here. Love you, love what you do, and happy to be here. But I appreciate the acknowledgement of the biological father. That is a good. It's good to air that out now, to get that out. For those that don't know the background. So, no, it's all love, my friend, all love. But the knife, that's a good. That's handy. Good to have.
Yeah, it's new. This is a. I have a tendency to lose things that I don't really care about fairly frequently. So I'm always sort of like, oh shit, like do I need a new EDC knife? That's everyday carry for those who don't know what that means. And
not me, who thought that was Electric Day Carnival.
Right.
No. Also, I love it, dude. Q, what is happening, man? Like again, you're like wrestling that anaconda, you're pulling it in, you're pulling it out. I love it. I love the dynamic visual.
It's just we're going with it today strictly because I wanted to smoke pot on the show. Like I'll admit that. I'm sorry to CK, but that's happening today.
No, I love it. I 100% support you there. So you look, we got to make this happen. America has been clamoring for you to smoke weed live on camera, and by smoke weed I mean smoke tobacco, because YouTube does not like that.
Right.
No illicit activities.
Yeah, wait, no, we looked up these rules. I'm in the state of California in my own home. Nothing I am doing right now is considered illegal. I'm fucking 29 years old. Like, this is perfectly legal.
You were
still in your mother's
29-year-old.
basement.
Yeah.
Shut up. We don't need to harp on that, guys. Yes,
All right,
I live with my parents and I'm 30 or pushing 30.
All right. What's next? What are we diving into? What are we talking about today? Chris, take us home. Keep us on track. Q?
Yeah.
You look like you're about to.
Q, go ahead.
Do we want to talk Drake? Like, I can
let's
talk
do
Drake
it.
all day.
Oh shit, dog.
Certified
Let's fucking
Lover
do it.
Boy. Certified Lover Boy was actually like a high key kind of good.
No.
That's just
go,
my 2 cents.
Wait. Go all the way back.
I kind of fucked with it. However, I will say Kanye's new album, Donda 2, was a piece of art if and only if you listen to it straight through.
Wait.
But we're not going to debate Drake versus Kanye, although I am team. No, I'll never tell you. Drake is like full blown Bitcoining right now. Like, he's going around orange pilling motherfuckers. What was it, like 6 weeks ago or like 2 months ago? Drake just hit up Kodak Black out of the blue. It was like, yo, do you have any Bitcoin? Nah, man. What is that? Yo, here you go. I just sent Kodak like 6 Bitcoin. Just I think he owed Kodak money. Like, that is genuinely the context of it.
What the fuck?
But then last night, Drake is just, degenerately gambling online, like, and streaming it on Twitch, because when you're super famous like Drake, I guess you could just breathe and people want to watch that happen. I don't know. Cool. Congrats, bro. But while he was playing like internet roulette, which is such an absurd game to play, like, of all of the online casino games to play, let me play the one that is just odds. But it's not just odds like out in the universe now. It's odds that you, the house, get to manipulate and create. So that side of it, weird as fuck to me. Then he wins. So simulation very clearly broken. And then he just says, fuck it, I just won like 30 plus Bitcoin now. And he gave 1 Bitcoin to just a random person watching. So needless to say, I now subscribe to Drake's Twitter or Drake's Twitch, and I watch his every move.
Wow. And let me get this right. He won betting the very obvious that the Golden State Warriors were going to come out of the West. Is that right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, but he
I
put the
believe that
bet
was-
in
that-
January.
Yeah, that was the big bet, but that's not where he got the Bitcoin from.
Oh, okay.
Like, he won $1 million yesterday.
Right.
Like, shout out Drake. I made the call. I believe both Chris and P were at the company all hands in January when we were having brunch on Monday. And I said to everyone at the table, Golden State Warriors are the best team in the NBA. I fucking hate it, but they're going to the finals. I also called it in January.
Right. Where's your receipt though? You got the $1 million. Are we going to be giving out a Bitcoin on stream today, Keith?
No, okay, but he didn't win that's not where he got the Bitcoin. Like, the absurd thing of this story to me is that he was just playing online casino roulette. That is where I've lost. Like, fuck it. Like, go bet on every NBA game you want. Like,
by the way, this is 100% investment advice from Q.
Yep. I hope we're taking notes.
We could go down this rabbit hole if you want, but the way I was trying to bet on the Warriors was, instead of placing a direct bet, I was going to buy season tickets and just try to break even on the regular season, and then you cash in by selling playoff tickets to the team that's going to the finals. And if finals tickets go for anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a pop, and you buy 2 tickets and they have 3 home games, all of a sudden you just made potentially $6,000 on tickets.
You flip that shit into Bitcoin, you're a baller.
Yeah, and in a few weeks you might be able to get like half a Bitcoin for that, a third of a Bitcoin for that.
If
fucking bear.
Satoshi bless us all, if we're also
right. I'm not a bear. I'm just, I'm a little
No,
nervous. That's
you're a
all.
cute, cuddly
Nervous?
little teddy bear.
You piece of
What are you
shit.
nervous about?
No, I'm not nervous about Bitcoin. I'm nervous about everything around Bitcoin, the macro, the world. It doesn't look great. Um, I'm not worried long term. I think the macro is screaming we need Bitcoin, like more than ever. But the transition will always be turbulent and wild, and we're seeing some pretty. Not to just all of a sudden get deep here, but we're seeing some pretty cataclysmic changes in some really important metrics. In the world economy. So yeah, I'm a little worried in the short term, but you know, Bitcoin does whatever it wants to do. So I'm prepared for magnitudes in either direction, and I will be happy either way. It's opportunity or great appreciation. So
Mark, keep going. I want to roll this.
I mean, yeah, I mean, no, I'm
Like what?
I mean,
What is it? All right, give me like Cliff Notes version or like a top 3 things that you're like, wait, they did what? And I'm assuming based on what you just said, you're alluding to the fact that CPI is changing yet again.
I mean, it's not just CPI. I mean, I just think like there's like a lot of really crippling sanctions that are going on that are really intense. There's really severe supply chain and food issues. And yeah, just like on the geopolitical theater front, there's a lot of areas with concentrated energy and concentrated like chip production that are suddenly, areas of interest, maybe even militarily. And that's just like, a little nerve wracking. And I think Bitcoin actually plays a huge role in all of that, whether it's monetary supply, whether it's the energy market, whether it's chip production, all of those things are very Bitcoin, adjacent, if not, directly related. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're seeing dramatic effects of inflation, and then seeing these pretty big effects in the energy markets and chip manufacturing markets, and global trade. I can't really see how that won't affect Bitcoin.
Let's unpack a couple of those, and we'll start with energy. And I do want to go into chips because like semiconductors, I think, are instrumental, not just to Bitcoin, but like modern society now. And between those two categories of energy and chips, I think you can pretty much encompass everything except for food. And I could argue and make a case and say both are actually incorporated in the way we eat most food now.
Sure.
But like on the energy front, like, dude, I'm so afraid to drive around LA right now. I filled up at Costco for $5.50 a gallon, and my girlfriend and I looked at each other. We're like, wait, it's $5.50 at Costco. Like, what is it everywhere else?
It's insane. I regularly pay over like $6.50, which is just
yeah. But the Bay Area blows, and I did just dox you, so my bad there.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. There's also another thing too. Like while we're feeling it at the gas pumps, like those of us who are driving, and especially those of us who drive in like a state like California that decides to just tax you up to wazoo on a gallon of gas. There was a lot of interesting stuff coming out of retailers like Walmart and Target. I believe it was last week, where they started releasing earnings, and their earnings were missing. And like these companies got absolutely clobbered. Like I'm talking Target lost almost 25% in a single day. I think I actually closed 27% down on the day it reported earnings. And one of the main, I think, triggers of this was not necessarily the way fuel costs have impacted their previous quarter, but how that is diminishing their margins as a result. And like you saw Walmart during the pandemic roll out, what was that? Like, do they have like Walmart Plus or Walmart Pro? They essentially rolled out like a subscription model akin to and to compete against Amazon Prime. Well, if they're complaining about gas prices right now, and Amazon has their 2-day delivery, mind you, Amazon's going through their own issues as well. But like you're seeing some of these retailers start, like Walmart sells you fucking gas, and they're complaining about the cost of gas. Like this is going to get ugly, a lot uglier before it gets better. We haven't really, in my opinion, seen or felt the rising gas prices in our grocery stores, but that is a component that every business essentially calculates out where it's like, hey, like I used to work at Subway in high school, and they explained down to like why they put 3 slices of tomato on every 6 inch. And they were like, it just calculates out to make sure we actually make money on these sandwiches. Because otherwise, if you put 10 tomatoes on every foot long, eventually we just lose money. And every business, especially these global national companies, like they think things through like that. So it's going to get a lot uglier. Like you're seeing the stock market put a follow through day yesterday. You're seeing another day of big gains. I'm telling you, this is the classic bear rally. We are in the midst of a bear market rally. Make some money if you can, but don't lose what you have. That's my 2 cents there.
Yeah, IQ, I would say you're spot on the Target and Walmart earnings. Both of those are sort of, you can look at them as kind of the bellwether of the American purchasing economy. And people have less money or less, purchasing power, and they can buy less things. And we're potentially seeing almost like a death spiral of big box realtors where they have to lower prices. They're passing on these expenses and an inflationary, expenses and costs, down, and they can only do that so much. And then people stop buying things. So I agree with you. It is a little scary. And I think, when these numbers came out, the Walmart numbers were posted after close on Monday. And Tuesday was, when we saw, the big drop. So markets definitely look at those kind of things. It's a really good way to look at, the health of the purchasing power of the U.S. economy is looking at, these big box realtors that the American economy has sort of forced, our middle class and working class to purchase from. And when we're seeing those numbers, fail to grow, it's certainly not a good look. So, not to bring doom and gloom, because I'm definitely a bloomer, and I'm with great change comes great opportunity to rebuild things. So,
there's nothing wrong with being realistic, which is I think what we're being. Like, yeah, we're being a little bearish and pessimistic, but like we need to be grounded in reality. And yes, I am still wrestling this anaconda, and I have no intention of losing this battle today. So get used to it. Goblin, I don't remember your full name, but I see you there in the chats.
Q, I just am.
How much are you paying for gas? You actually don't drive. You bike.
I do actually. We do have a vehicle. We thought we were
like, is it affecting like other places? Because like Mark and I are just an echo chamber about California, but you two, Chris, as well, like can provide some context to like non-California.
Yeah, as someone who escaped California because I am intelligent and a free-thinking man, I will tell you that the gas prices are much cheaper here where I am, in the great state of Tennessee. I also just want to go back to something you said earlier, which deeply offended me, which you felt the need to flaunt the fact that in high school you were a sandwich artist at Subway. I just want to call you out for that because I think it was fucked up, not all of us had that opportunity, and you should be a better sportsman is what I'm trying to say.
I need to work on my humility. I'm sorry. Fun fact, that was like when in business school, they made you make a LinkedIn freshman year. That was like my only work experience other than a couple of volunteer gigs. And so that was the only thing I had listed in job experience. And all of my friends made fun of me. She's like, I still remember one of my friends was like, yeah, you make that sandwich, boy.
Oh man.
I can still make a better sandwich than anyone else though.
You should put sandwich connoisseur, not just sandwich artist. No, I mean, gas is still going up by me. I mean, right now it's like $4.50 a gallon, which is still cheaper. But I mean, just in the last 6 weeks alone, gas prices in my area have increased 22%, 23% last time I did the math. And it was weird. It was like they were going up. They had a small like dip down, and then they proceeded to continue to keep going up. And I know Jeff Ross always talks about high prices are the cure to high prices, but it feels like those prices aren't coming down, like it's staying high. So I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, the dollar is losing purchasing power in very like tangible ways. And yeah, I think petrol and oil and energy markets are one of the best ways to see that. I don't really see it going down in the immediate future. I mean, normally, we sort of, have a summer price effect, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not really an energy market expert. But yeah, I'm just really feeling it personally, and witnessing it and seeing people feeling it personally. And yeah, when gas prices go up, when we already have such an affected supply chain, it stresses everything out so much more, and costs are continually getting pushed downward as we're losing purchasing power. So it's a dangerous combination of things. This is why, stable economic policy and supply issuance is very important. And there are qualities of Bitcoin that we could really apply on a grand scale. I'm not saying Bitcoin fixes everything, but hyperinflationary effects. And I know maybe I shouldn't say hyperinflationary, but high inflationary effects, can be fixed with stable monetary policy. So, this is why this stuff is important.
Or you can stop driving and eating meat and then you won't feel inflation. Come on, man. They gave us the solution.
Yep. That's true.
Like, this isn't necessarily relevant, but I think it's news-ish worthy. So Tesla Cybertruck has been on so many delays, but Ford just released the electric F-150 today. So they beat Tesla to market with the first electric, or not the first, because Rivian technically did release their car. But it's interesting. I saw like someone talking about how they were on pre-order for a Tesla Cybertruck and it took so long. They just said, fuck it. And they got the F-150, and Ford like paid whatever the deposit was, like, I guess, but it's happening. We're bearing witness to Tesla failing. And I think that's very important to note, because Elon Musk decided to share that you can buy random crap like Tesla merch with Doge. Like, the dude is so stuck on Doge, and I'm curious, with in the midst of failing to release the Cybertruck in time, with the ongoing debacle that is the Twitter buyout, you see the Bitcoin community really pushing and trying to call on Elon to go back to accepting Bitcoin. Like, there's the Lightning Network. You can facilitate much better, cheaper, and easier payments as a result. But he still just wants to be a troll. I'm curious if either of you think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, if Bitcoin will return to Tesla, and if so, like, what maybe will cause Elon to shift his tune about Bitcoin.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Bitcoin, or rather, Elon Musk has always been a bit of a shit poster. And by a bit of, I mean an enormous shit poster. A lot of his ventures are just vaporware. The whole, like, one of the most egregious ones was his whole like Neuralink bullshit, where he was like, oh, yo, we stuck some decade-old technology inside of a pig's brain. And he was like, look at them pigs eat. And it was like, beep, boop, bop, boop, boop. And it made some dumb noises. And he was like, we're geniuses. And the market was like, you're a genius. So Elon Musk just kind of, he's a brilliant man, obviously, but he just does whatever the fuck he wants. And I think trying to, when he first bought Bitcoin, put it on the treasury of Tesla, people were like, he is the new savior. I had conversations with idiots who were like, Elon Musk is definitely Satoshi Nakamoto. And I was like, what the fuck are we even talking about here? And I think that like, and then when he fucking dumped on Bitcoin, everybody was pissed at him and was like, fuck you, Musk. And now everybody's like, or a lot of people are like, maybe Musk is actually a good dude. He's doing what is good for Elon Musk. And we should never forget that, as we all should be allowed to do, right? But I think trying to get him to support Bitcoin or do anything that helps the network is going to be a losing battle, because ultimately he's just here to serve his own interests, as we all should be. But the only way to get him to support Bitcoin is to create a situation or to educate him to the reality that supporting Bitcoin is the best possible thing for him personally and his own interests. And I think anything else, trying to ascribe, good, not goodwill, but, positive whatever towards Bitcoin to him is a mistake. You got to slay your heroes, people.
Got to slay your heroes.
Do you think that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Elon and Tesla are down on their initial Tesla buy from last year, do you have concern that he would sell for a loss?
Concern is the wrong word. I think that, I guess I don't really care. I don't have a strong opinion about what effect that would have on the price of Bitcoin, but I'll be honest, for me, I mean, it sucks to see one's net worth, halved from what it was at, 69K. Great number, by the way. But I don't know. I don't have an opinion on whether that would like drive the price down lower. I suspect that it would, but I'm not sure. But I don't really care is my point.
I guess, are wash sale rules implemented for Bitcoin yet, or was that 2023? No. Or wasn't that part of the infrastructure bill, January 1?
Infrastructure bill never passed.
Oh, yeah, it didn't. No. Okay, so with wash rules not in, I mean, in theory, Elon Musk could sell it to help fix his balance sheet by selling it at a loss, writing it off for a tax reason. I think it would push the price down and then try rebuying it at a lower amount. But that would just be, I don't know, that's big brain.
There's a maximum amount that you can write off annually for losses, even as a business. So as far as like an investment vehicle is concerned, so there might be limitations there, but you are right. Like on a pure accounting basis, the opportunity is there to essentially take advantage of this loophole.
I guess I just say it because the gap accounting rules, it's impairing his balance sheet as is. Like as the price goes down, he needs to further write that off as an expense. So you could cut the bleeding or stop the bleeding by selling it. And then whether he wants to rebuy in again, I mean, that remains to be seen, but it less impairs your balance sheet, at least the asset side of things.
I'm bored. What's next
right now?
Mark, hit us with some knowledge.
Oh man.
No. I want to talk semiconductors. We've done energy. I want to talk semiconductors.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Because
fine.
Well, that is a big component, I think, of everything we're bearing witness to. Like that was the first slowdown in the supply chains. That was the holdup at first. Everything else was on time, but then it started to trickle into other aspects.
I mean, it's starting to get. I mean, that's kind of the argument for why used car prices are going up so much is because they can't find the components to build as many new cars. That's definitely part of it. Obviously, smartphones. I mean, there's just computers and everything. And we have very localized, specialized facilities that actually supply the world with I mean, over 90% of like sub 10 nanometer semiconductors come out of Taiwan specifically, and I think it's even in like the 97%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really crazy.
It's like an insane number out of Taiwan. Like that is why Taiwan is like this. Like everything that Russia has done to Ukraine, there was a narrative that like we did discuss on this show greatly that was more about however this gets handled in Ukraine, it sets precedent. So if Russia is just able to steamroll Ukraine, then by precedent, China has reason to believe that they could just steamroll Taiwan. And while Ukraine does have, in my opinion, great significance given its importance in the global wheat economy, Taiwan would have a far, I think, quicker impact on developed nations. And for that reason, Taiwan becomes a much more strategic move for the entire global economy. I remember when the conflicts with Ukraine hadn't even begun, but like we were hearing reports of troops moving into certain regions, and you also had the US. Very few outlets were reporting this, but the US was sending troops, sending its Navy essentially to position itself right between China and Taiwan at the same time that Russia was making moves on Ukraine. So I think the expectation is very much that China could make a move And that would be catastrophic. Mark, you bring up a very excellent point. Like everything requires a semiconductor. Like just think about how many bullshit smart items you have. Like those require insane amounts of computing power that were once thought impossible. But because of companies like Taiwan Semiconductor that create these like 5 nanochip or like 5 millimeter, what's the size, Chris?
There's sub 10 nanometers. It's TSMC, I believe it is the company.
Yeah. Ticker symbol TSM. I am a shareholder. I think they're an excellent company. They are like opening a foundry here in Arizona, for example. And like that's, I believe, slated to get opened in 2024.
But then I think there's going to be a big push for that of bringing conductor production back to the States. I know there's talks about that in Texas, in Arizona. And I actually believe that there was even an executive order that was signed that was, making it a priority as a national security issue to bring these things back. But we see it now. I mean, if you try to order a new M1 MacBook right now, you will not get your laptop until like after August. I mean, which again, I mean, it seems kind of like, well, who cares? But the reality of what that really means on the extended market is, you're paying the highest price for that. What that means for all the other industries that are trying to get it in bulk. I mean, it's certainly not a good sign. We can't even meet the demand of the market, which is pretty wild. So yeah, again, I don't really have a theory of how everything turns out. I hope for peace, and I'd like to think Bitcoin dematerializes a lot of the cost of human war, and certainly would hate to see anything like that. But yeah, just like a very real thing when you have sort of a centralized I guess you could say point of success or point of failure. I don't know which way you look at it. They're very good at making semiconductors, and they've taken the whole kind of world share of it. So that is just sort of a risk that happens. And I hope they continue to do good work and stay safe.
What is your anticipated response should China take an aggressive move towards Taiwan?
I will say that there is I'll do a little teaser here. There is an upcoming article coming out in the next print edition, written by a Bitcoin Policy Institute fellow and good friend of ours, Matthew Pines, who does a really, really brilliant breakdown of looking at kind of how we got here, where we are, and a postulation of where we might go. And he does an incredible job. He has, a lot of experience in history and sort of national security, state advisory, and consulting positions, and wrote a really brilliant piece on that. So I urge people to go follow Matthew Pines and check out his writing. He does great stuff on that. But honestly, man, I don't know. I mean, it's so tough to say. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in the way we handle things like that from the United States, with our very real history of the way we've treated the sanctity of borders for, commodities in the very recent past. But obviously, it's not a good standard to sort of let be normalized, people invading sovereign countries be it for energy, be it for wheat, or be it for semiconductors. So I don't really want to postulate on what would happen. I'm not a war strategist. I'm not I don't know. But I would imagine that it's such a matter of international world security that, there would be a response of some sort. So that's why I just really hope that we can achieve some of this stuff diplomatically and, can sort of decentralize that power. And the best way to fight that sort of doomsday scenario is not fight over that, but rather everybody nationalize their own production in their own company, in their own countries, right? It's like, let's not fight over this place. Let's go build our own and become self-sovereign. And we don't need to go, it's, cause a lot of pain and violence to get chips. We can just start making them ourselves. So the US is in a position to actually start doing that. So I hope that is the method, win that way rather than any sort of military action. But yeah, I mean, it has huge effects on world economy and supply chains and industrialization of the world, as everything goes online and everything gets connected more and more and more. I don't see the need for small computer chips going away anytime soon. In fact, I see it exponentially exploding. So yeah, we need that to up that production quite a bit, for sure.
Something we talked about. Oh shit! I just dropped all my pot. Um, we didn't really touch on it right now. We have on this show, like the other day when we had the Bitcoin Magazine Pro guys, Sam Rule and I were discussing, some of these publicly traded miners had very lofty goals for the year on the hash rate that they were going to churn out and how many miners they were going to turn on. And we're seeing both the energy issue and the semiconductor shortage play an effect on some of these miners not having to roll back their promises. I mean, Core Scientific really screwed me over. Full disclosure, I still own shares of them. Like they had to cut back about 10 terahash from their original forecast for end of year. And I'm curious what larger term effects this may have on both industrial mining operations and then for like individual solo miners. Do they start to have and get priced out because the big miners are just going to start buying up whatever supply becomes available?
I can take this. I think that the miners are having more issue with racking space, with wiring. I don't think the energy, I mean, there's still a lot of stranded energy that people can plug into. I guess, what was it that Dylan was saying? There's one of the miners, I forget if it was Riot or Marathon, has like 3 petahash, like sitting on pallets on the floor of a warehouse. So they definitely have the ample amount of miners. They are missing racking space. They're missing wiring because of basically supply shortages. I don't think the power is as much the issue. Right now, it looks like, like I said, like they're having more of the issues for setting up the miners. P, did you want to say something there?
No, I'm fucking around with my mic settings.
Sounds good. Mark, I guess anything to add there? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe, hash rate has been pretty much going up. There was that, obviously the big, market change with the ban from China. And we saw a really like kind of golden age of profitable mining there. And then the hash rate has basically gone straight up and the price has basically gone straight down. So profitability, maybe people were maybe a little more bullish on, turning those, the Satoshi profits into dollars to grow the business more. Maybe that's possible. I think Bitcoin mining will continue to go to cheaper and cheaper and cheaper energy, obviously. And we're already kind of seeing that with the price of ASICs. You're going to really need to be like, 4 cents or lower using the, old S9s and stuff. And I think we're going to see that go even lower. So yeah, I mean, the hash rate is going to continue to go up. I don't see that stopping. Profitability though, that's much more difficult to say for people trying to get into this space. So really hard for me to say. I don't have a huge pulse on the mining infrastructure business, I guess, but I do look at the hash rate a lot. It's one of the few charts that I think I don't think it's like a 1-to-1. It doesn't beget price. Just because Bitcoin is expensive to mine doesn't mean that it should be expensive to sell. Those are unrelated. But yeah, I think hash rate will continue to go up. I think it would be cool if we saw 300 by the end of the year. It would be pretty amazing. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's some big mining companies that are raking in thousands of Bitcoin in very short periods of time. It's pretty wild. So I think that will continue to happen. But hopefully, again, just like the semiconductor issue, hopefully the centralization of it doesn't become a problem. And instead, we're able to, way overproduce energy and have, just spread out, mining sort of rigs everywhere with really, really, really cheap to free energy. And so we don't have any of those issues of miner centralization, no attack vectors there. But it's very interesting to see. I think regulation will play a big part of it. We could have some king-making scenarios here with the way that they regulate mining, money transfer laws, and obviously then just the obvious like taxing mining as income and those capital gains and all that. So I think we're about to find out a lot of stuff, I think, about the future here with the way that both the government and the Fed responds to this potential recession crisis. And then also, Bitcoin's role in that and how the government regulates it. So exciting times, I think.
Did I tell you guys about a business that I'm trying to buy over here in Los Angeles?
No, you did not.
So, going off of what Mark was saying about how like this recession that we are fully in, I don't need to wait for the centralized government to tell me that GDP was negative. Like, it's negative. Let me tell you, it is very negative right now. In recessions historically, people cut back, they don't go on vacations as much, they don't spend as much money, but they do little things as like their treats instead. Movies tend to do well during recessions. Box offices historically have done and performed better during those periods of times. And another type of business that does really well is ice cream. Like, people just treat themselves more to ice cream because that's like their reward in the midst of a recession. So thinking about buying an ice cream parlor, we'll definitely be accepting Bitcoin for it. May even have to do like an orange flavor and call it Satoshi's cream.
Q, I entered the 2008 financial crisis as a my folks are both CPAs. I'm adopted. They're very rational, reasonable people. I wanted to go to music school. They were like, no. So I worked at an ice cream store that I had worked at in high school during the day and went to conservatory at night. So I actually was managing an ice cream store during the recession, and I worked through that whole phase. And I can tell you that, yes, it is true that sweets are a known staple of the dealing with recession. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Like, we don't know what exact. I mean, I think to say GDP is negative, I mean, you're probably right, but we don't know.
They can turn it around and say whatever you want, but like, in what aspects of the country have we grown on exports when all you hear is our growing reliance on imports?
Our debt grew.
The cost of gasoline grew.
Yeah, that's true.
You're only adding to my point, but thank you guys. Like, Chris, can you just pull it up? Because based on the setup, there's no way with a joint in one hand and the microphone in the other that I'm going to be able to look up the exact formula for GDP. But I believe, like, in rough context, it's really just a matter of how much you import versus export based on how much your country's population also grows, has some aspect of this. And like, these are all areas we are failing. Like,
I got it right here. I can say it. GDP is consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports. So that's basically the calculation. So consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. Our exports have not grown with everything being up. Government spending has gone up. Investment, I'd say, has gone down. I guess maybe. And
I would argue consumption has gone up.
Consumption's probably gone up.
We export our debt, a lot of that.
That's true.
We haven't, but like, we haven't really. And I would argue that, like, based on the fact that government spending, like, I'm curious how the government spending portion of that gets calculated, because you can have both an argument for all government spending just is positive, like it becomes positive in that calculation, or government spending that like is never recouped, or is just sort of like cash that gets burned, like when you buy junk bonds to bail out all these companies. Like that's not money that's really circulating by the government, in my opinion. So I'm curious how that gets calculated out. um like to me, hearing all of that, it just further validates like there's no way we have improved in any of these areas from last quarter enough to make me believe that we're now positive.
Yeah, certainly in terms of GDP growth, for sure. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Again, like,
Interesting times, right as we kind of gear up towards we're just starting now, the midterm election season is upon us. And I think there's a lot at stake, in the House and the Senate. At local levels, we're kind of seeing how important that is on a jurisdictional arbitrage sense. And I think we're going to, see a big, states versus federal when it comes to how they regulate, for, an inflationary market. Are we going to see big regulatory stuff come from the Terra explosion? There's rumors going around that there's coins listed that will be tagged as securities. There's people talking about that. People have been talking about that for a while, though. So who knows?
also don't forget, today is the official launch of Luna 2.0 because Do Kwon wants to make sure he's done.
Is that true?
I thought it was.
Oh my goodness. I've really stayed out of loop on the 2.0 stuff. Wow. What does that even mean? We probably shouldn't even talk about it. Great. Interesting. I'm sure that won't be not another horrible thing. Yeah, back to America's collapse, not so much UST collapse. No, collapse is a really strong word, and I shouldn't say that lightly. But yeah, it's gonna get interesting. I think we're all really feeling it already. I mean, I feel very privileged and very lucky, and it's affecting me in a very tangible way with gas prices and cost of food and stuff where I'm at. And I'm in a very expensive area to begin with, but yeah, it's real. I'm very thankful for Bitcoin, that there is a sort of a hopeful thing in this scenario. I'm thankful we don't have to fight this with just bonds and gold and dollars. I'm glad we have another arrow in the quiver. Yeah, Bitcoin.
I got two things real quick. Next topics.
Wait, before we go on.
Yeah.
While you have been talking about meaningful things, I just whipped up this sweet advertising campaign for you, Q. I don't know if you can see this, but you can call it Satoshi's all over your face. And there's your ice cream parlor right there.
Look at that soda jerk.
I will definitely be smoking a spliff or a joint while I'm serving you ice cream. So be sure to come check out Satoshi's Creamery when I open it up. Also, I'm gonna throw this out for the chat, but we may or may not be making some Bitcoin weed paraphernalia, some papers or glass.
We just lost your video feed, my friend.
Oh no!
You smoked out your camera.
All right, let me fix this. I'll be right back.
Well, luckily there's a great shot of Soda Jerk Q behind P, which is nice. So we can at least think of you while you're
welcome, America.
Yeah. What a great shot that is. Hey, I'm a big ice cream guy. I worked many years in the ice cream business, did a lot of irreparable damage to my rotator cuff. Yeah, good times at the ice cream parlor. It's fun. I've worked coffee, I've worked alcohol, and I've worked ice cream. And ice cream is fun because everyone is having a good time going to get ice cream. Whereas like coffee, it's like you get some jerks that are just like, I just need my coffee, don't talk to me. And alcohol obviously has its own wonderful highs and wonderful lows associated with it. Ice cream is just, it's always a good time. It's I recommend it, Q. I think you're onto something.
As Q is fixing his video setup, I guess next thing that I had on the list was Bitcoin now accounts for 44% of the total cryptocurrency market cap, the highest level since October of 2021. So I don't know if that's just sentiment to other altcoins dying while Bitcoin's price is down. Alts are also getting crushed. So it's returning, or as people say, nature is healing us in the Bitcoin space. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, man. I think.
Yeah. No, go for it, Pete. Go for it. Market
Look,
cap. Go for it.
Look,
go get him. Get him. Get him.
Fuck you, man. No,
Get him.
Look, the reality is, like, I certainly love to see all the altcoins get what they deserve, which is to say pain, suffering, confusion, chaos. But the reality is these things they're like engorged ticks on the back of Bitcoin, right? You have Bitcoin, which is sound money and truly novel and revolutionary. And then you have all of this bullshit that is specifically designed to separate people from their hard-earned Bitcoin and put it into the pockets of the people who, created those tokens. They never fucking go away because there's always people who want to take advantage of other people. So yes, because Bitcoin is the actual real thing and all this other stuff is fucking garbage. When Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down twofold, threefold, whatever it is. But when Bitcoin surges back up, these things will come out of the weeds and rise up again. A fool is soon separated from his money, and whatever permutation of the newest scam, affinity scam on Bitcoin is going to come back. So I certainly take a lot of schadenfreude from seeing this, but don't expect this. People are saying like, oh my gosh, this is the end of shitcoins. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There will always be scammers. There will always be snake oil salesmen. And we always have to be vigilant.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think just like the actual literal like metric of market cap dominance, like I think we all should have really learned that market cap does not equal liquid market cap. And when we saw, how many billions just like literally evaporate. I mean, I shouldn't laugh. It's not really funny, but seeing it evaporate, instantaneously, basically, those numbers are really, I would say ineffective at best. At really showing, the health of the ecosystem and what's going on. But that said, self-fulfilling prophecy, people do trade off of it. And I think it's a really lossy metric, but yeah, I totally agree with P. Shitcoins are not going anywhere. There will always be recycled and there'll be new ones. But I do think the education in the space, the more times people go through the cycle and see this happen and see, all of these promises, die out on the BTC pair, the more and more we see that, the more and more aware of it. It will be harder and harder for the affinity marketing teams to do their damage. Hopefully, again, maybe I'm an optimist, but yeah, I guess either I'll take the dub of the 44%, even if I kind of think it's sort of like a, I mean, we could create market caps that could skew that a couple percents. We could create a shitcoin right here, and fuck that all up. So, yeah, lost the information, but yeah, go Bitcoin.
What would the name of your shitcoin be?
Oh man. Well, okay. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I before I really grokked Bitcoin, I wrote a white paper for a proof of stake system for nonprofits. And looking back on it now, years later, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's kind of funny. I never did anything with it. I was kind of like, I was sort of into this idea of how I was, running a nonprofit and trying to see how I could use a media moment and try to, if I'm trying to help. In this specific case, it was distributing, funds for mental health. Money doesn't go very far. And so it was like, how could I kind of, build this? And so I wrote a plan for a nice Ponzi scheme to build out the funds. Never actualized it. And then, thanks to some really awesome waters warm maximalist Bitcoiners, I was, sort of rebaptized into the space. I always knew Bitcoin was the one, but I got caught onto some of those marketing things. So I like to just be honest about that stuff. So the name of the white paper was trustless. So I guess that would be the name of the shitcoin that I realized in writing it, that it made no sense. It was intellectually and economically a perpetual motion machine and a Ponzi scheme at best. So yeah, that's my honesty right there. But yeah, no, I'm good on that, on the shitcoin creation for the time being.
So it sounds like you implemented like a shittier stacks.
Yeah, it was. You could say that.
Because stacks there is some novel technical aspects to stacks. There truly are, but it is being marketed as and is certainly used as a bullshit perpetual Ponzi scheme. Case in point, Miami coin, where you pay Bitcoin, receive stacks, and then they're like, oh, you earn Bitcoin back, but really it's just people coming in behind you, paying more Bitcoin, that pays out to you. And then you have Miami coin, which is exactly the same mechanism I just described, just put on top of stacks. So in order to get Miami coin, you have to like fucking like sell Bitcoin for stacks and then sell stacks for Miami coin. And what we saw happen is fucking Miami coin was a giant exit scam. The city of Miami exited, made millions, and everybody else got utterly fucked. And that's what will happen to you if you fuck around.
And you look at the tokenomics of the pre-mine of it, and you see like, oh, we got a 6% share going to like one person, and then maybe a couple years out that extrapolates to like $300 million, and it's like, oh wow, interesting. But anyway, it was probably I think they've thought about things a lot more than I did. But I think I came to I think sooner that I was developing an inefficient economic system. I think Bitcoin is going to flex here. I think it very well could go down and will go down probably. But I don't think a lot of these ICO machines will really catch back up in BTC terms. They always pump hard when it's bullish, but in bears they just implode. So I don't see that pattern breaking. But I also agree wholeheartedly with P that I also don't see the pattern breaking of the next thing coming. I'm already hearing whispers of soulbound tokens, and the merge, the verge.
The name alone tells you all you fucking need to know.
Sounds like a video game thing.
Oh, it 100% does. I mean, it's such. God damn it.
We're now playing Dark Souls in real life. It's soulbound coins.
Yeah, like they at least could have tried a little bit harder to make it sound more reasonable. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is going to? I mean, a lot of people are, but like, imagine going to a board meeting and you have to tell your the rest of the board members, hey, so this new thing, it's this really cool technology. Look, don't even worry about it. It's definitely not a scam or bullshit. And they're like, what is it called? That sounds, I mean, sure, why not? And you're like, don't even worry about it. And they're like, no, you got to tell us. It's got to have a name. And you're like, soulbound tokens. And they just start laughing at you. And then they shit themselves because they're laughing so hard. And then they smear the shit all over your face. And that's what will happen to you.
I mean, it's hard enough to advocate for Bitcoin, and it has a 13-year history. It has, like, you could show all the charts, nodes, mining, all that. And yeah, to your point, you're like, so this soulbound token, I'm totally not going to get rugged here. Like, it's insane. Yep.
Well, I mean, I think the idea is sort of like, it's like very similar to like the WorldCoin thing, right? Isn't it sort of like an identity? Again, I really probably shouldn't be talking because I don't know much about it other than the name, but it's sort of a decentralized like web identity concept, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, I honestly don't even know, and I don't have to, because the reality is the number of shitcoins that there are, it's literally a DDoS attack on your fucking brain. There are thousands of altcoins, and there are thousands of schemes that involve Ethereum, tens of thousands, honestly. And if you try to engage with every single one of them, you will spend 100% of your life trying to and failing to discredit these things. Because at the end of the day, the people who are investing in them are using like logic and or they're trying to use logic and justification and stupid naming schemes like soulbound in order to justify what are ultimately scams. And so if you try to pull them apart from a technical perspective, you often you will end up just wasting all of your time, and they will win because it's not about logic. It's not about
the
reality.
average person isn't getting into these shitcoin scams because they're convinced this technology is revolutionary. Like, most of these people are getting in because they think this is their opportunity, that they saw someone else that they know or know tangentially or heard about that made millions on some random shitcoin, and they think this is their opportunity. And it's a lack of understanding of what money is, in my opinion, and that fundamental, like, miscalculation, misunderstanding leads them down that desire a lot more than them on a technical basis understanding, oh, well, like, this increases transaction speeds, like, but they don't even know what that really means. Like, they don't understand the concept of, like, the bank intermediaries when they pay with a credit card. Most people don't even understand that. So to me, most people are just getting involved with them because they just think that they're going to get rich. And it just goes back to, like, do you really understand what money is?
Well, I think it's a symptom of sort of the climate. We are forced to speculate to fill our gas tanks. I mean, that's sort of what happens. And then you see these TikTok investors that are like, hey, you just buy when it's low and it goes up, and you buy a house, and it's like there's just there's sort of like a mania, and so when people are people see that the space is growing, they see that there is serious things going on, and they miss the signal for the noise. But it's definitely a symptom, I think, of like the economy, where people are noticing they can't just save, and they really need to speculate just to keep up, because they're losing purchasing power so fast. So that's how you see NFTs. That's how you see soulbounds. That's how you see these, whatever the hell the Ponzi scheme I wrote. That's how you see that kind of stuff come, is like trying to deal with losing purchasing power.
Yeah, Mark, I agree. And even the all these altcoins have way better marketing tactics, I would say, or at least high time preference tactics of like, here's the Lambos, here's the house, here's the car. Like, exactly your point. You're like, I just bought it, I flip it, we're all good. I made a ton of money. You can do it too. Join this next venture. That coin's already done, but we've got another one in the wings.
Did you guys see this picture of Richard Hart, like, sitting on his, I think, G-Wagon with a Lambo in the back?
Yes, I did see it.
I think I did too, yeah.
Did you read the license plate on that?
No, I didn't.
Isn't it like Big PP or something?
Yes. Like, like, how small is your dick that you have to broadcast and write on your license plate that you have a big PP? You must have a fucking
well, according to him,
penis.
Q, it's the opposite. Apparently it's because it's not so very small.
And every guy with a lifted truck or who revs a fucking massive muzzle, they've also got giant cocks, right? Like, it's exact same energy in my book. I think if I say Richard Hart's name one more time, he might appear though like a fucking demon.
Oh, here he is. Here he is in the waiting room.
I have been enjoying watching, like, Corey just attack Richard Hart and, like, countless other Bitcoiners, like Greg Foss, huge friend of the show, and as well as Corey and everyone who is pretty much anti that fucking scam artist. But
so I just want to take one moment. I was gonna say, like, we've been taking a lot of time. We're fucking around, bashing on all the bullshit. But I also just want to focus on, like, the very real work that is being done in the Bitcoin space, right? Like, we're in this bear market, and bear markets are actually this amazing time because this is where all the work actually gets done. This is where the noise dies down. This is where the shitcoins collapse, and the people that promote them and that create all this distracting content tend to disappear and go away because other people got fucked. And that leaves room for this real important stuff to happen. We were talking about this earlier in Spaces with Roy and Johns, who are working on Breeze and other technologies involved around the Lightning Network. And we can bash on all the shit a lot, but I think it's also important to really celebrate the really exciting stuff that's happening in the Lightning Network, the companies that are being built, the innovative sort of like neobanks that focus on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin company, which is a really cool one. There's Noah, there's all these technologies that are building out. And to be honest, like those are the things that I'm the most excited about. The future is bright, my friends.
I totally
Also,
agree.
Fuck Richard Hart.
I mean, I would say the year that I really like Bitcoin really clicked for me was 2018. All things considered, not one of the better years, but for me it was. And I think it was the best thing to learn in a bear market. And there's a lot less kind of charlatan energy when it's really, it brings out the builders. So to me, it's been really cool to see, so many people coming out with new educational platforms. We had a Spaces yesterday with BTC++, Base 58. Even having P on here now all the time, and there's just a rising tides of all boats here. That is really exciting. And yeah, I mean, it's there's again, it's opportunity, right? We should all be so lucky in a weird way to be able to afford Bitcoin, and the longer Bitcoin is below the average annual salary of like and say like an American, the better, because we want as many people to get a stake of this deflationary world when it's still accessible. So let's take this opportunity to build some really lasting things for the future.
Yeah, well, I agree. Oh, sorry, Pete, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I that's a much more eloquent version of what I was trying to say. I think that we should all be, and I would encourage people to invest in your own education, invest in the Bitcoin network by building tools and helping people understand what's going on and why this is such an important time in human history. The economic environment that we are in right now is unprecedented. The entire world has never been this coordinated. The central banks of the entire world have never been this coordinated in inflating away the value that everyone has worked so hard to amass. And I feel this moral imperative to, again, educate as many people as possible, build as much as we can, which is really, what we're all doing here as part of Bitcoin Magazine. We're here because we want to be part of this movement. We want to be contributing to the future of not only America, but everyone. And I would just encourage everyone to spend time, put effort into thinking about how you as an individual can help to bring as many people as possible to this lifeboat that is Bitcoin in this uncertain time.
Yeah, and I think that segues really good into my next topic. So what I've been trying to do is, I don't want to say like I'm fully on a circular economy. Obviously, I try and sweep as much as my cash flows from my salary or anything else into Bitcoin. But there's been a lot of rewards programs that come out, whether it's Lolly, whether it's Fold. I know Bit Refill has a way to pay like for bills. So what I've been doing is I pay off my credit card with fiat. I do it like using Strike. Strike gives me like a cash back that you can then buy Bitcoin with. I've been finding ways to donate that to contributors. So like I've been trying to give back to the community. I'm coming up on 2 years in the Bitcoin space in like a week and a half. It'll be 2 years for me. So I know I like donate. So some of my favorite contributors, I donated to BTC Sessions. I donated to Keith Mukai of Spectre and Seed Signer. So just trying to give back to the community that's been so gracious and grateful for me. And exactly to P's point, I mean, a lot of the best stuff is built in the bear market, but they do need funding to do so. I'm not able to give a lot, but instead of being in this perpetual way of like trying to spend as much fiat in order to get rewarded and reward myself, I kind of feel like, not that I didn't earn it, but like instead of getting in the fiat mind of like, oh, let me just spend money to get more sats, I'm trying to gamify it to make it so like any money I get back from award programs or anything I give to creators that can use it probably even better than myself. And yeah, I guess I could have take it and put it into cold storage, but that's just my logic. I don't know. Just a thought, food for thought.
Yeah,
Love that.
Yep, me too. Q, take it away, brother.
No, go. I love that. It is important to recognize like the people who are giving up their time and frankly their lives to further help advance this technology, help grow it, and help new users understand it and to onboard it. Like right now, BTC sessions, Odell, they were just giving a talk at the Oslo Freedom Forum, just like helping people understand like how to open a wallet, like how to just interact and use their Bitcoin. And it's so important to just like as you yourself go through this journey to further understand, I think it's really important to like, bring someone along and help them as you are learning, because it helps you further understand it, and then it just further advances, Bitcoin adoption. You help people understand on a deeper level like what this thing is that they just hear about the price of it, because it goes so much deeper than the price. But that's just my little like high rant.
Yeah, and I mean, if a lot of us have had a lot of really beautiful opportunities and things given to us from Bitcoin, and this is a project and with people that executed and wrote code, and those people may not all have names necessarily, but they all have addresses and all have ways to support developers, places like OpenSats, and then just contributing directly to GitHub, contributors. It's sort of a duty almost, I would say, especially I think for some of us that have been blessed by the appreciation of the protocol to give back to the people that helped make that possible. But I agree. I think there's so many ways to do it, and back to kind of what we were talking about with P, or what P was saying earlier. There are many ways to do it. Education, onboarding people, why we're all doing what we're doing here, and so for sure. But yeah, I mean, direct contribution goes such a long way, and Bitcoin is a means to an end, and it's a circular economy. And the best way to get someone to understand and learn what Bitcoin is to have them actually like touch the chain and learn why it takes a while to settle, learn how blocks work and why transactions take time and why settlement networks are yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I'm fully in support of that, Chris. I think that's really neat and a great way to give back to the community. I am such an idiot with the Bitcoin reward stuff, and I've just not taken advantage of any of that. And every time I hear someone scheme a cool thing like that, I'm like, what am I doing? Free Bitcoin on the table. So really cool of you to leverage that. Yeah. Please.
Anything else? I got one more thing.
Hit us with it.
It was kind of a news story. I don't know if it's news or noise. I'll let you guys do the deciding factor of that. But I know the news team at our company was saying Russia is basically investigating using digital currencies for international payment is being actively discussed. I guess I look at it from two angles. Obviously, I think that countries that are hostile to Russia, they were forcing them to pay in either rubles or gold, I believe. I believe they're doing a lot of their transacting with China. It remains to be seen if they are transacting with the renminbi or the digital yuan from China, or if they're thinking of, I don't know, it's obviously investigating digital cryptocurrencies, so it's not specific to Bitcoin. I don't know if they would try and launch their own cryptocurrency, if they would use just basically China's cryptocurrency or digital yuan, or if they are talking about Bitcoin in particular. It was kind of hard to read between the lines, but I guess what are your thoughts on that, Mark, PQ?
Someone want to maybe take the first stab at that? I actually wasn't aware of this.
Neither was I, unfortunately. Mark, hit it.
Hey, yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a trope we're going to continue to see, wishy-washy announcements of regulatory action from countries. There's been a lot of stuff. There's these reports that come out. I see a lot of people, translating things online, trying to figure out, whether it's, stimulus, you want stimulus, what the numbers are. I'm seeing a lot of that kind of, I don't want to say it's not misinformation, but just like kind of lossy regulatory information coming out. So it's really hard to say kind of what a lot of these things will lead to. I think this is a thing that happens in Bitcoin where, sometimes these rules come out where they look like they're very positive, and we think all regulation is good regulation because it's acknowledgement. And then we learn about it and it's like, oh, maybe not so much. And then sometimes the reverse happens where what we think will be a doomsday scenario ends up, strengthening, say, like the mining network, with the China ban. So it's really hard to tell with these like sort of pressers that are very inaccurate, what is actually going to happen here. So that's my escaping out of answering the question that I'm not super familiar with by saying that it's hard to tell from here. Hugh, take it away.
I'll kind of echo what you said, Mark, in that, like, ultimately these attempts, sorry, there's like a helicopter flying over me. These events, while on paper may not look like it's beneficial to Bitcoin, I think in the longer term it can be a net positive. It's just, I think, going to be a little bit of a painful short term, and what that pain is may not necessarily be reflective on the price necessarily, but it may just mean further restrictions on Bitcoin in a certain region of the world, slowing down adoption in that part of the world. I think it also just like further validates Bitcoin because you continue to see this necessity from the state to have some sort of control over money and understanding or oversight on where and how money is being spent. Like, in actuality, right now, there are obviously laws in place that the government would have to have like reason to reach out to your bank to like freeze your accounts, but like you could be stopped from spending money here in America right now. And that's just on a US dollar system, not with some sort of like central bank digital currency. So that level of control gets amplified in that scenario, but it doesn't, and it could also arguably, maybe to a degree, and maybe you guys won't agree with this, but like to a degree, they could also inhibit you from like spending money and on and off ramps for Bitcoin and making it more difficult. But you can, in theory, also just like reroute your IP address to make yourself look like you're in a different jurisdiction, and then all of a sudden, like, you can use those same applications and you're fine.
That is financial advice.
None of this was financial advice, other than maybe.
It's weird because you're texting me on the side saying this is definitely financial advice.
Yeah, I'm getting those too.
Financial advice I gave was the fact that you should definitely buy season tickets to the Golden State Warrior. You should have bought season tickets to the Golden State Warriors back in January or like at the beginning of the season.
Q, I also just want to comment on your hair. It has somehow expanded past the bounds of your gigantic studio monitor headphones, which offends me greatly as someone who does not have luxurious hair. How dare you? Does the Bitcoin standard fix the fact that my hair is not as luxurious as yours? Yes or no, answer the question.
No, it never will.
What?
But if you give me 2 Bitcoin, I will tell you my secret. Because I already know it's you.
I already know it's you cover your hair in animal fat every night. You told me this earlier. Okay, what else we got, Chris? Chris just gave me a thumbs up like, we got nothing.
Let's go.
I was muted. Yeah, no, we're good. I don't know if we want to do a wrap here. P or Q, send us out.
Look,
we stack some sats live on air. It's Friday. We haven't done that in a while. What's the price right now?
Look, I can't rap. I'm sorry. Like I can't, spit rhymes, drop some verses. It's never a skill. It's never been a skill of mine. I can't help you, Chris. I'm sorry.
All right,
well, I got
I'm gonna
this.
stack some sats. I'm gonna do a quick little stack.
My name is Pete. and
Everyone
I'm here to
watching,
say-
feel free to do the same. It's at 28,500. That 28,000 number that I threw out like weeks ago still holds. So Alex McShane, I know you're listening. I continue to be validated day by day as this goes, and I'm now the proud owner of 350,000 more sats.
Hugh, what was your level that was your call out to hold? I missed the number. I'm sorry.
28K.
28K.
Yeah, but then he was like, he was feeling this
But we
bullshit.
went
like,
through 20.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was like, no, but I'm retroactively changing my story. It was
No, no,
28K
dude, you can
for
have
more
it
than
pierce
24,
through.
27 hours. It's got to just...
You can have it pierce through. That's a further confirmation that like,
Listen.
hey, it tried to break below this level and it was unable to hold that price level.
Theories, theses, theses. All right. Well, tell me your bids. Tell me where you set them. Tell them what. And I'll tell you mine. I took my dry powder, cut it into tenths, market bought instantly like a degen with 1/10, set 29-1, 28-1, 27-1, 26-1, 1/10, 1/10, 1/10, 1/10, and then half at 25.1, and I didn't hit it by about $170.
Oh,
You
Yeah.
fucking degens in your trading.
But
I buy-
it's not trading. It's just set.
No,
bids.
you're right.
I'm not
I'm
trading
margin
this.
in. I'm not. It's
I'm not
just-
trading this. I'm just trying to maximize. Like I was trying to deploy a sizable chunk of capital, and so when I was figuring out like at what
Dozens
price
of
points I was-
Yeah.
dollars.
like I would stop my I would stop my dollar cost averaging like my buys when it was above 40K. I was like, it doesn't make sense that it's right here. It's going to go lower. I genuinely was not buying at that price level because I thought that it was going to go lower.
Look, here's my advice. Go into the Strike app, set a 5-minute DCA, and just ape all your shit in. I'm kidding.
Okay, the smallest time interval you can do is hourly, which I do. But everyone
Clearly-
should just be dollar cost averaging and not worrying about the price. But
Clearly, you are not
if
a
you
favorite
want to
son.
put a sizable amount, like a significant amount more than just what you would dollar cost average over the course of like a week or 2 weeks, like you could be more strategic about that, or you cannot. Like it's entirely up to you. Like that is the financial advice I'm giving you. Is like it is your decision.
This comes
Whatever
from a
your
man.
risk appetite is.
This comes from a man who admittedly has great hair, but is leaning casually back into a bush as he holds a reticulating mic arm.
Well,
Like
the
a
mic arm
fucking
fell
madman.
off, so I've had to now just hold it. But
Well, yeah.
Sorry, my friend.
Set your bids. Set them low. Set them safe.
oh,
He-
this was
he-
what I was gonna say. If you are like P and you're like losing hair because of how much you have invested in Bitcoin, it is not. You're not losing your diamond hands if you take a little off just so you can like sleep easy at night. If you're losing sleep over the price of Bitcoin, you probably have too much. That is just something to consider. Like, don't lose your hair the way P lost his hair.
I have never lost my hair over Bitcoin. I lost my hair over. Oh, I can't talk about it since the accident. No, man, look, nobody should invest more in Bitcoin. Like, you have to your point, all joking aside, one should always be able to have enough for an emergency fund. More than that, have enough so that you can live your life, because Bitcoin is a long-term investment. You should not be buying Bitcoin with the money you're going to need in the next 3 years, 4 years, maybe even 5 years. Like, I view Bitcoin as something that's like the ultimate savings technology. So for me, the intermediate highs and lows do not cause me any stress, honestly, because I make sure that I have enough fiat capital so that, I'm able to live my life in comfort and in the way that, I want to do. Everybody should be doing that. Nobody should be putting so much that they have to sell Bitcoin when it goes down in order to finance the rest of their life, especially if you haven't been in the space for a while. But on that note, let's call it a day. Let's wrap.
Thanks,
Stumble.
guys, so much for having me. Really, really appreciate the invite. Always a pleasure. And yeah, be safe out there, everybody.
Mark, as a fellow elephant deck microphone user, I just want to say I want to like connect with you and like bro down, because I feel like everybody's like, what the fuck is that in frame? And I'm like, this is the best sounding mic you can possibly buy. And everybody loves to use the SM7B, and I'm just like, no, dog, you Gotta go with the RE20.
RE20s, baby. Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. I'm an RE20 Maxi. So, yep, I'm with you, Pete. Anytime.
Peace.